In 300 BC, a wealthy merchant named Zeno set sail from Phoenicia to Athens. He was young, rich, and unstoppable, or so he thought. But fate doesn't care about your plans. Halfway through his voyage, a sudden storm erupted. Waves towered like monsters. The wind tore through the sails, and within hours, Zeno's ship, along with every coin, every crate, every dream, sank into the blackness of the sea. Imagine watching your entire life disappear beneath the surface, knowing there's nothing you can do. No second chance, no safety net. Just cold water, broken wood, and silence. Zeno didn't cry. He didn't scream. He swam. He washed ashore in Athens, broke, soaked, and stripped of everything he once thought mattered. Most men would have crumbled, but Zeno did something different. He walked into a bookstore, picked up a scroll of Socrates, and in that instant, he was reborn. From the ruins of his old life, he built a new one. Not with wealth or status, but with wisdom. That wisdom became Stoicism, a philosophy forged not in comfort, but in catastrophe. A way of thinking that doesn't just help you survive pain, it teaches you how to become invincible because of it. Understand what Zeno discovered, and you'll never be defeated again. Welcome to Stoic Spirit, the place where we turn ancient wisdom into modern power. If this resonates with you, hit subscribe and let's walk this path of unshakable strength together. 1. What you can't control will crush you, unless you master this one thing. Most people collapse the moment life doesn't go their way. A job rejection feels like a personal attack. A breakup becomes a self-worth crisis. A failed plan turns into a spiral of self-doubt. Why? Because they've built their identity on things they were never in control of to begin with. Here's the truth. The world owes you nothing. Not a salary, not a relationship, not even an explanation. If you hinge your peace of mind on whether or not the world treats you fairly, you've already lost. Life doesn't ask for permission before it strikes. But it does hand you one weapon, your response. Zeno lost everything. Wealth, reputation, comfort, in a single moment. But he didn't let that event define him. He didn't say, "Why me?" He said, "What now?" That's the shift most people never make. Instead of staying stuck in the chaos, Zeno mastered the dichotomy of control, the foundational principle of Stoicism. What does it mean? It means this. You don't control the storm, but you do control the ship. You don't control people's opinions, but you do control your self-respect. You don't control the outcome, but you do control the effort. Once you separate the two, what's yours and what isn't, you become dangerous. Not because nothing hurts you, but because nothing owns you. Epictetus said it best. The chief task in life is to separate what's under my control from what is not. But let's be honest, most people never learn this. They spend their lives obsessing over things they cannot influence. What others think, what others choose, what fate decides. They try to micromanage the universe and then fall apart when it refuses to obey. That's why they stay weak. Not because they lack strength, but because they give their power away, every single day, to things that never belonged to them. 2. The mindset that makes you bulletproof. Most people don't break because of tragedy. They break because of surprise. They thought life would be fair. They thought people would be loyal. They thought success would come if they worked hard. When those illusions shatter, so do they. But Stoicism teaches you something radical. Expect the worst. Not because you want it to happen, but because you're wise enough to know it might. You don't fear the fall. If you've already imagined the landing, this isn't negativity, it's armor. It's what the Stoics called premeditatio malorum, the premeditation of evil. Before the day begins, you picture the client yelling, the traffic jam, the disrespect, the sudden failure. And when it comes, you don't flinch, because you've seen it already. This is the mindset that makes you bulletproof in a world that keeps firing. While everyone else panics, you stay calm. While others get blindsided, you're already 10 steps ahead, not because you're cynical, but because you're prepared. Think about how this applies today. You launch a business, it fails, your partner leaves, it hurts. You face rejection, betrayal, disappointment. The average person spirals. But the Stoic expected this. They didn't expect ease. They expected challenge, and they trained for it. Here's the difference. Most people beg for an easy life. Stoics train for a hard one. And that's exactly what makes them unstoppable. They're not hoping for smooth seas, they're becoming better sailors. So ask yourself, are you hoping the storm will come? Or are you ready to face it when it does? 3. Voluntary discomfort. The drill for your soul. You want to become undefeatable? Then stop living like everything must be easy. Comfort doesn't build strength, it builds softness. And softness is the first thing the world crushes when things go wrong. The Stoics knew this. That's why they practiced voluntary discomfort. The art of deliberately exposing yourself to discomfort, not because you're a masochist, but because you're preparing for life. Sleep on the floor, take cold showers, eat plain food, walk instead of driving, speak less, own less, expect less. Why? Because when life strips away your comfort, you won't panic, you won't lose your mind. Because you've been there before, by choice. You trained your body and mind not to need luxury to be functional, not to depend on convenience to stay calm. While others cry, complain, or break down under pressure, you breathe through it like it's just another rep at the gym. Seneca, one of the richest men of his time, practiced this often. He said, "Set aside a few days where you live with less, so you'll never fear poverty, loss, or change." And he meant it. He didn't train for disaster because he expected it. He trained because he knew it was inevitable. Most people live in fear of the fall because they've never let go of the ledge. They've never known what it's like to have less and survive. But Stoics jump, and they find that falling isn't the end. It's the beginning of flight. When the comforts of life are taken from you, your money, your lifestyle, your routine, you'll only have one thing left, your character. The only way to know if it's strong is to test it. And voluntary discomfort is the safest, smartest, and most powerful way to build it. When was the last time you chose discomfort just to train your soul? 4. Reclaim your mind from the world. Modern society is a battlefield for your mind. Every ad, every influencer, every shiny object is screaming the same lie. You are not enough unless you buy this, wear this, look like this, or live like that. And every day, millions fall for it. We've been programmed to believe our value is based on things we can display. Money, status, looks, attention. You need money to matter. You need beauty to be loved. You need validation to feel worthy. But Stoicism takes that belief and burns it to the ground. It tells you something radical. Your value is internal. Always has been. It's not in your abs, not in your follower count, not in your paycheck, not in your resume. Those things are temporary. They fade, fluctuate, disappear. Just like Zeno's ship, they can vanish in a moment. And when they do, what will you be left with? If your self-worth is built on things outside of your control, then you're not in charge of your life. You're a hostage, a slave to other people's opinions, a prisoner to numbers on a screen, a puppet of marketing algorithms. The Stoic reclaims the one thing society wants to steal the most, his mind. He says, "I choose my worth, I define my value, I am not for sale." He lives by internal metrics, integrity, effort, courage, wisdom, not by likes, fame, or clout. Seneca wrote, "Learning to live with less will create space in your life for the things that truly matter." And in today's overstimulated world, space is power. Space to think, space to breathe, space to remember who the hell you are when no one's watching. So stop outsourcing your identity, reclaim it. You don't need the world's permission to feel whole. You just need to stop giving it that power. If this message has hit home for you, if you found value in what we've shared so far, then take a second to subscribe to the channel. We're building a community that chooses strength over comfort, meaning over noise, and discipline over chaos. By subscribing, you help us bring more Stoic wisdom to more people who need it. And that support truly means the world to us. Thank you for walking this path with us. 5. Detach from outcome, attach to effort. Let's talk about something simple. You spend 2 weeks writing, filming, editing the perfect video. You study the algorithm, you optimize the title, the thumbnail, the tags, you hit upload, and then nothing. Low views, no comments, silence. Now what? If your self-worth is tied to the numbers, you'll feel like a failure. You'll question your talent. You'll want to quit. But if your self-worth is tied to your effort, your discipline, and your consistency, you'll keep going. Not because it's easy, but because it's right. This applies far beyond YouTube. It applies to relationships, to business, to life. You give someone love, they don't return it. You do everything right at work and still get passed over. You take care of your body and still get sick. Is that your fault? Is it painful? Yes. But does it define you? Only if you let it. The Stoic separates results from identity. He says, my job is to show up and give my best. The outcome? That's not my job. This mindset doesn't make you passive. It makes you powerful because it frees you from neediness, from obsession, from emotional collapse every time the world doesn't applaud. Epictetus said, freedom is the only worthy goal in life. It is won by disregarding things that lie beyond our control. You do the work because the work is noble. You put in the reps because discipline is its own reward. You show up because character isn't optional. Detach from the outcome, attach to the process. That's where the victory lives, and that's where your peace begins. 6. The 4 virtues that forge an unbreakable man. Stoicism is not just a philosophy, it's a warrior's code. And at the center of that code are 4 virtues. These are not abstract ideals, they're tools, weapons, a moral compass that keeps you upright when everything around you is crumbling. Wisdom is the first, the ability to distinguish what's real from what's noise, to recognize when your ego is speaking versus your reason. In a world drowning in distraction, the wise man listens to silence. He thinks before reacting. He reflects before speaking. He doesn't chase every shiny object. He asks, does this serve me or enslave me? Courage is the second. Not the absence of fear, but the will to move through it. Courage is what makes you stand tall when your knees want to buckle. It's what makes you speak truth in a room full of lies. It's the quiet voice that says, try again, when your whole body screams, quit. Epictetus called it the ability to persist and resist. You move forward and you hold the line. Temperance is the third. Moderation, restraint, the strength to say enough in a culture obsessed with more. It's the art of saying no to excess, to greed, to instant gratification. It's not weakness, it's control. And in a world where everyone's a slave to impulse, the one who can delay pleasure is the true king. And then there's justice, the virtue most often forgotten, but the most vital. Justice means doing right even when no one is watching. It means protecting the weak, being fair, speaking up when it would be easier to stay silent. Marcus Aurelius said, what is not good for the hive is not good for the bee. A true Stoic is not just strong, he's good. Because strength without morality is just cruelty in disguise. These 4 virtues, wisdom, courage, temperance, justice, are your armor, your internal compass. When the world changes, when everything feels unstable, they don't move. And if you live by them, neither will you. 7. Mandela, the Stoic who changed the world. Nelson Mandela spent 27 years locked behind concrete walls, 27 birthdays without freedom, 27 winters without sunlight, 27 years where bitterness could have become his identity. And yet, when he finally walked out, he didn't come out angry. He came out calm. Most people would have wanted revenge. Most would have burned the system to the ground. But Mandela chose something harder. He chose to forgive. Why? Because while he was in prison, Mandela read the meditations of Marcus Aurelius. He absorbed the words of a Roman emperor who ruled not through wrath but through wisdom. In a place built to break men, Mandela trained his mind to rise above the rage. He understood the core Stoic truth. You cannot control the past, but you can shape what comes next. Mandela could not erase his suffering, but he could choose how to use it. He didn't let his pain become poison. He turned it into power, the kind of power that doesn't destroy, but rebuilds. He once said, resentment is like drinking poison and hoping it will kill your enemies. That's Stoicism in practice. Letting go not because it's easy, but because it's the only path to true strength. Mandela led a nation not by domination, but by example. He didn't demand respect. He earned it by showing that the highest form of power is self-mastery. He didn't control his jailers. He didn't control the injustice, but he controlled his heart. And because of that, he didn't just survive prison, he transcended it. His life proves a hard truth. You don't need control over others to change the world. You just need control over yourself. 8. Stoicism and modern therapy, the science of strength. Some people think Stoicism is outdated, that it belongs to togas and scrolls. But the truth is, modern psychology is just now catching up to what the Stoics knew over 2,000 years ago. Let's start with REBT, Rational Emotive Behavioral Therapy. Developed by Albert Ellis, this method teaches people how to identify irrational thoughts and replace them with rational ones. Sound familiar? It should. It's exactly what Epictetus taught. Men are not disturbed by things, but by the views they take of them. In other words, it's not what happens, it's what you think about it that shapes your suffering. Then there's logotherapy, created by Viktor Frankl, a man who survived the unthinkable horrors of Nazi concentration camps. He watched his family die, he faced starvation and cruelty, and yet he emerged with this truth: those who have a why to live can bear almost any how. That idea, that purpose can sustain you even through pain, is deeply Stoic. It means that even when you've lost everything, you haven't lost yourself. You haven't lost your power to choose meaning. And that meaning is where healing begins. Frankl echoed Epictetus when he said, "Between stimulus and response, there is a space. In that space is our power to choose." That space is sacred. It's the pause between chaos and control. It's the place where you stop reacting and start choosing. And the more you expand that space, the more freedom you create in your life. Most people don't even know that space exists. They react to everything, insults, fears, discomfort, as if they have no other option. But Stoicism teaches you that there's always an option. And that option begins the moment you take back the steering wheel of your own mind. So no, Stoicism isn't just ancient wisdom. It's modern therapy. It's mental resilience. It's psychological armor. It's the science of strength, written in the blood, pain, and triumph of those who refuse to be broken. Life doesn't come with a warning label. It crashes into you when you least expect it. One moment, you're sailing smooth waters, the next, you're drowning in chaos. The job disappears. The relationship ends. The world changes overnight. And there's no pause button, no rewind, just the raw reality of now. Most people panic. They beg for the storm to stop. They curse the wind. They blame the sea. But the Stoic, he grips the wheel tighter. He doesn't pray for calm waters. He prays for stronger hands. Because he knows storms are not optional. But sinking, that's a choice. You may lose the ship, you may lose the map, you may even lose your way. But if your mind stays calm, if your soul stays steady, you can never truly be defeated. If the ship sinks, so be it. At least we lived well while we had the chance. That is the Stoic code. You were never meant to control everything. Not the people, not the outcomes, not the chaos. You were meant to master one thing, and one thing only, yourself. So when the next wave hits, don't run, don't crumble, don't beg. Stand tall, plant your feet, breathe, and remember who you are. You are not here to be safe. You are here to be strong. So become calm, become centered, become undefeatable. Thank you for watching. If this message resonated with you, don't forget to subscribe and support the channel. More Stoic wisdom, power, and perspective is coming your way, right here at Stoic Spirit.